All right. Well, if you are listening, if you made it through our intro and you're listening to our podcast this week, welcome. But stop, pause, and go to.
I was going to put that in the intro.
Then we'll cut that out. Fuck.
Reset.
I'm just gonna shut up and drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you listen to our intro and you stop the podcast. So Whitetail Distraction. Listen to part one. I think we're thoroughly lubricated at this point.
Yeah, we're good. I thought we started already.
We did start.
Okay. So.
Hello?
Oh, I thought we were starting over again.
No, we're good. Now.
We're live.
Leaving all
and we're live.
Should I shotgun a beer right now?
These fucking guys.
Dude, I want to shotgun a beer.
As long as you don't
go get a beer.
Say you swear.
I'm going to go get a beer. Y'all discuss something.
Oh, go get it. Austin,
I'm so excited right
Where's
now.
your shotgun tool? Go get it.
I got one in the house.
Go
Can
get
I it. Okay,
yeah.
you and Gus talk.
Grab me some ice while you're in there too.
Okay.
Please, here. You need this? All right, Gus, just us now that those losers are gone. We can talk about some real hard-hitting topics.
Have a real discussion.
Yeah.
You first.
Me first? Okay. I like your beard. It's a nice beard.
He's back already.
Oh, man, that was too quick. Austin's still in there. So part one was a shit show, and I apologize for that. And if you guys have gone over there and listened to that, sorry. Our podcast is not as well mannered as yours is. So
do you have
well organized?
A knife?
Me?
Yeah.
Wait till you see the tool, Austin. He actually has a shotgunning beer tool. This is what you should get in your stocking stuffer.
You should get this in your stocking stuffer.
Dude, I have two at home.
The Krakens?
Yeah, nice.
Dude, the Krakens.
No, I have the Eagle
man.
from the Joe Rogan podcast. I have the Eagle.
Dude, the Freedom Funnel.
Yeah. The Freedom Funnel.
Beautiful.
Yep. And then I have a tube that looks like a giant syringe, and you like fill it up, and then you put it on a wall, and you walk into the wall, and it just shovels it down your throat.
Okay, I like that too.
I'm watching carefully what you're doing.
Are you doing traditional right now? You going with a regular shotgunning right now?
Yeah, if I could find a knife.
Yeah.
How about the screwdriver?
I'm gonna go regular shotgunning too.
Regular?
I'm gonna leave it.
You're gonna open it over top of all that.
I'll be all right.
Maybe over here.
Huh?
I'll be all right.
Just don't spray that beer all over my shit.
That's what I just told him not to do.
I'm gonna open it right over top of our mixer right here.
He's literally right over top of the mixer. I'm like, come over here. Spray it on me if nothing else.
It's not going anywhere. We're good.
All right.
I'm so excited right now. Do you have any idea?
No, but I did notice that you.
So I should point out that in our Patreon group we have a Marco Polo group, and for everybody that kills a deer, I shotgun a beer for them.
Nice.
We've killed a lot of deer.
I'm behind this year.
He's about a full pack behind.
I'm soaking wet.
Are you really?
I'm so glad you didn't do that over top of my laptop. Thank you.
I tried to wipe it off, but I'm sure it's still sticky.
There are some professionals over here. Was that a screwdriver?
That was a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Oh, then I can understand it. And you're doing your a Coors Banquet. Love it.
I missed the hole, so this is gonna be fun.
Are we gonna race, or are we just doing it for fun?
I think this is like a cheers off.
I like it.
So I'll raise my glass and cheers to you boys doing this dumb shit.
Okay.
I'm gonna drink my beer like an adult.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink those ones too, but I'm a degenerate.
This might be our first shotgun on the podcast, I think.
No, it's not.
It's not? Okay.
I do you remember the Halloween episode?
Oh,
I opened it that way.
That's right.
I'm wearing a captain hat. I can't not shotgun beers right now.
You are correct.
You guys
I'm wearing
go
a Whitetail
for it.
Properties hat. I can't not buy land today.
Can I hunt it?
I'm ready when you are.
All right, go.
Let's go.
Ooh. Good timing. Oh yeah.
That's great.
I knew that was coming.
That's an opener.
I should have drank a Miller Lite. I could have burped like that. Look at my pants.
Oh man.
So.
That's not from the beer.
The worst part is you have to sit in that for the next X amount of hours that we're going to be on here.
No, the worst part is we have to try and not make this a Patreon only episode.
Oh man, it'll be good. I feel like reinvigorated right now. Let's go.
Yeah, I feel like this is what I took an Adderall earlier. I should have shotgun a beer.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was tremendous.
It was so good. I've never shotgun a Coors Banquet before. That was delicious.
Listen, I'm pleasantly surprised how much I don't.
Okay.
How much I like the Coors Banquet. If you had Coors Banquet here, I'd probably drink one. Miller Lite.
That?
Cat piss.
Get out of here, guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Meredith Curry for placing an order. I wanted to get straight into my favorite topic of the moment. Crossbows.
Yes.
You love them. We love them.
I just saw a double barrel crossbow the other day on TikTok, and it was fascinating.
So I heard you talk about that on the podcast, and I want to look it up, but I haven't yet. But the reason why is because YouTube is a weird thing. So we don't really take it serious, but we used to make YouTube videos about topics. And so we made one about how deer smell, and this was probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, something like that.
That was a delayed.
There it is. Delayed.
Yes.
So for some reason it just blew up. Hey, thanks. It just blew up out of nowhere, and sorry. And I started getting a bunch of comments, just people talking shit, because that's what YouTube's for. But this guy came in there and he said, as soon as he started talking crap about crossbows, ... unevolved. And then I was like, unevolved. So I had to Google it because I thought I knew what it meant, but I had to make sure. It means not fully developed, which is funny because the only time you see someone using a crossbow is when they're young and not fully developed, or when they're too old and developed too far. So it's, which I didn't say that back to him, but it was kind of like what I said was, we were talking about bow hunting and scent and like how close you got to be to a deer and why scent may be important if you're bow hunting. And I said, a man's bow, not a crossbow, is what I said. I'm not talking shit about crossbows, but if you're shooting a raven, you're shooting 100 yards. So scent's not as important as a 30-yard bow shot. That was the whole point of the conversation. But working with like veteran charities and stuff, a lot of these people, they can't pull a bow back. They got injuries or whatever, so they have to use so I don't care, but I think if you're able to use a regular compound bow or a trad bow, that should be the method of take. And I wanted to know y'all's thoughts.
Yeah, so Pensylvania here, not too long ago, when I was a kid, you had to have, a medical, basically, reason to use a crossbow.
You had to have a doctor's note.
Unless you were youth or senior, right?
No.
Actually, no. Yeah,
it was across the board. You had to have a medical reason to use a crossbow.
Yeah. So you had to go had to go to the doctors and get a medical excuse to use a crossbow and hunt. And then they legalized crossbows across everything. My take on it is, one, I guess first and foremost, I've never actually shot a crossbow. I've never hunted with a crossbow. However, we all know
ping pong ones.
Yeah, we all know their capabilities, right? It's a weapon that you can pick up at any given time, take one shot, hit the bullseye, and you're ready to hunt out to 50 yards ethically.
If it's sighted in.
That's what I mean. Take one shot, you hit the bullseye, you're ready to hunt.
Yeah.
Right? You only need one. You don't need to practice for 6 months shooting your bow.
Yeah. True.
And my biggest thing, if I had it in a perfect world, and I'm not against crossbow hunting either, I think it's a great weapon of choice for a starter bow. If someone's just trying to get into hunting for the first time, even if they're an adult onset hunter and they want to use a crossbow for their first year, and then they want to kind of, continue their path and evolve into compound bow. Yeah. I think that would be a perfect world. But in my opinion, also, if I had it my way, I would probably have a crossbow season, much like they have an inline muzzleloader season during archery season here in Pennsylvania, where you can shoot doe only with an inline.
Crazy.
And you don't have to wear orange. So yeah, you're carrying an inline, which is basically a rifle, and you don't have to wear orange, and you can shoot doe only. I feel like if that same season and time frame within that season was for crossbows as well and doe only, I would be on board with that. But I have never encountered more negative hunting situations with any weapon in the woods than a crossbow user. So take that for what it is, but I'm just spitting the fact of the most negative experiences I've had in the woods with hunters, and whether that's them being assholes, whether that's people just not knowing how to hunt, whether it's whatever it is, people walking around the woods like Elmer Fudd carrying their crossbow thinking they're just going to sneak up on deer and shoot them. I've seen that plenty. You don't typically see that too often with compound bows. It's more crossbows. So that's my take on it, my opinion, and that's all it is. I don't care what you use, what you kill animals with. If it's illegal, do it. That's on you. But my perfect world, that's what I would prefer.
You just got lit up.
You just got lit up.
Oh man.
I don't know how I turned that on.
Have anyone here ever killed a deer with a crossbow?
No.
No.
So I have.
Oh.
And I have a story behind it. It wasn't really the week before, a tether rope that was installed as part of like our club, like we put a stand up and we put up a tether rope. It had dry rotted, and I got my bow all the way to the top, and it broke. The tether broke, and my bow fell. It bounced off of the ladder, and then bounced like 20 yards up, and it was all fucked up. And I had tags to fill, and the only bow that I had to hunt with on the bow side of our property, which you could only hunt with a bow, was my son's crossbow. So I took my son's crossbow hunting, and here's the deal: the shot was still like 30 yards, and it was such a weird angle. I actually missed low. It went right underneath the doe, and the doe just stood there like, what the hell was that? And so I was like, well, I'm going to reload this damn crossbow and see what happens. And so I very slowly recocked a crossbow and put another bolt in it, and that doe never moved. And so at that point, I decided that it didn't matter what I was hunting with. It could have been a fucking rock. I could have jumped out of the tree stand with a knife. It was that deer's day to die.
Yeah.
Because I was making so much noise and moving so obviously. It didn't matter, I don't think, what I was hunting with. So it made me feel better about killing it with a crossbow. Because I mean, I was like, at one point, like I was just like, well, maybe she did. Like I started moving really slowly, and then like I started just getting a little bit more just deliberate with my movements, and she was completely oblivious to the noise I was making, didn't care, or was blind in one eye. I don't fucking know. But she died, so that's my story.
Did she taste the same? She tastes just
good? Like the deer I shot with rifles in my other bow. Yeah.
I just like how you said you didn't feel as bad because she was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
But if you had killed like a trophy buck with a crossbow, would you have been disappointed in yourself?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm capable of shooting my bow just fine.
Yeah.
Regular bow just fine.
And again, we're not speaking about people that can't shoot a regular bow.
No, it's just personal preference.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I don't have any ill will towards anyone with a crossbow, and I don't have a negative feeling towards it. But for me personally, I couldn't do it. I mean, at that point, there's just, and I'm not even going to get into the fact that there's a scope and there's a trigger and there's no movement involved, because that's obviously right. Like my dad has called him a cross gun since the day one. He would not call him a crossbow. He will not call him a crossbow. It's a cross gun.
I will tell you that I don't even know the name or the brand or what it's called, but there's a bow. It's like an air bow.
There's air bows.
Air. That shit is 100%. I'm not cool with. I think it's. Yeah. I just don't see how. You might as well just shoot a rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way I always look at crossbows. Like if you're gonna shoot a crossbow, you might as well shoot it like a 30-30. If you're 50, 80 yards. But if you're shooting 100 yards with a Raven, just use a rifle, dude. You're gonna guarantee kill that thing with a rifle. It's a crossbow. I mean, probably, but
before Raven came out and some of the other bows that came out where they were shooting palm-sized groups at 100 yards, even crossbows were like limited to 50 or 60 yards, right? Like,
yep.
But then now that the way the technology is made, these things are so compact and are shooting so unbelievably fast. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't have ill will towards anyone, but if you're using one, I'm gonna give you shit. It's just
100%. Yeah. It's gonna happen.
I think it kind of goes back to like literally what Gus just said. Like he was saying palm size, but I think they advertise like sub MOA accuracy at like 100 yards or something like that. Really? And that's bananas. And that goes into like my whole thing about the crossbow hunting. I feel like people who shoot a crossbow who are, able-bodied, like our age that probably should be shooting a vertical bow, it gives people a lot of confidence that they shouldn't really have, I feel like, because you're shooting a really short arrow, has no weight behind it. If you're shooting a bolt and you have a 100-grain head on it and you accidentally shoot that deer in the shoulder, you're not getting any penetration out of that. I mean, if you build a full-length arrow like we do out of, a vertical bow and it's overbuilt and it's heavy, you have the right broadhead on there, you might get a little bit better results. But I feel like that, being able to shoot that 80 yards on a deer and them being able to put it right where they shoot all the time. Because I have shot a crossbow several times, and they are laser beams, man. It is, you feel hella confident with them. But at that point, I feel like you get to a point where it's just degrading everything that archery hunting is to the fact that it's difficult for a reason. And you get that overconfidence, and then you end up wounding a lot of deer. It's one of those things that I think goes into it.
I think we can. I think what it boils down to, I think we can all agree that it comes down to kind of the woodsmanship or sportsman aspect of it. Like, to me, I enjoy the challenge of shooting with a vertical bow and the additional challenge and the reward that comes with filling a freezer or shooting a deer and filling a freezer through that method of take. If that doesn't bother you and your goal is to just put meat in the freezer and you don't care how you take the deer, then by all means, shoot your crossbow, go do what you got to do, eat, be merry. And if that doesn't bother you, then cool. But personally, I just enjoyed the other methods of take more than I guess
I should have prefaced this before I jump straight into this conversation. But yeah, I'm speaking about them saying archery and including crossbows, because I don't feel like archery is crossbow. I feel like crossbow's in the realm of a gun, as your dad said, a cross gun. But archery, you can't say you're an archer if you shoot a crossbow. You just can't. It's not the same thing.
I don't think it's the same either.
Because you're not worried about levels. You're not worried about sights. Traditional sights like we're using. You're not worried about how it's fletched and it's all that stuff. You just go buy it and it comes together in a nice little package. Yeah. And like you said, you shoot it one time. All right, cool. I know what the thing's going to do, and you go hunt with it. And my shoulders kill me, all summer long because I'm just wrapping arrows, because I want to make sure when hunting season comes, I'm ready to go.
And all that being said, there's some group of four assholes just like us sitting on a podcast talking shit about us because we don't hunt with longbows or atlatls or
traditional archery.
So
wheels are for cars.
Right. To each his own. This is just our preference,
Could you imagine using a compound bow where you could shoot 60 yards?
Yeah. Here's the thing: at the end of the day, like if we're all in hunt camp and somebody brings a crossbow and they have a good time and they shoot a deer, am I going to give them a little shit? Probably, but good for them.
I'll tell you what is level 10 deer hunting that I discovered today. I don't mean level 10 is in skill, but like the final frontier, if you will, is saddle hunting with a rifle. That is fucking wild.
It's so much fun, dude.
I can go anywhere I want and then shoot as far as I want. Yeah. It's and you're quiet. I mean, I can walk forever with my saddle.
You had your
I did it today.
Yeah, that's right.
I had a saddle hunter with a rifle, and I'm like, dude, I just walked further than I needed to. Didn't bother me at all. Climbed a tree, and now I'm sitting on a railroad track. Like I can shoot.
How was that walk?
180 yards. It's fine.
Is it comfortable?
Well, no, it sucked. You know how railroad tracks are. I'm convinced that they use those rocks that size so you can't ride a bike on it.
Were your feet comfortable?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I was a little cold yesterday. I was gonna bring snake boots because we've been seeing snakes still, and we have a lot of venomous. Excuse me, snakes.
Venomous. Yes.
So I was gonna rock my snake boots because they're warmer. And so I left my sneeze at home, and then or not sneeze. What do I wear? I don't know.
Schnees.
So, they're not schnees.
I have schnees.
I don't know why I said that. Anyway, whatever they are, operator shoes. So I left them at home and forgot to grab my snake boots. And so I get into the woods an hour and a half from work, and all I have is my gym bag. So I wore running shoes today. Which, let me tell you, I've never been more comfortable in a saddle than today. All that flex and padding.
He walks into my house and he's he gets to my house and he's standing in his Sitka and running shoes, and I was like, how was that walk in through that mud and those $140 running shoes? just covered in mud, ruined.
They're Brooks, you know. You can throw them on for shoes.
Yeah, dude.
Those are actually awesome shoes.
Fun story. Chuck has hunted in dress shoes before.
I've hunted in dress shoes. I have also by choice hunted in Crocs. I'll never do that again.
I've hunted in Crocs before.
Yeah, the one sticking method with Crocs does not work. It is the most uncomfortable thing on my feet maybe ever. And trying to climb a tree was the most difficult thing. I mean, these were Crocs, like 3-year-old Crocs with no tread on them at all.
So were they or were they not in 4-wheel drive?
They were in 4-wheel drive. Okay. Oh yeah. And the worst part was, not only was I hunting in Crocs, I climbed the tree in Crocs, and I was very uncomfortable. My buddy shot a doe that day that went over an entire mountain down into the bottom. So we were tracking in Crocs.
Wow. Beautiful.
And that part was kind of awesome. Like coming out, I was like, I'll see you guys at the top. And I just start taking off, running up the hill in my Crocs.
Did you get the winch attachment or the lights or anything?
Oh, shit.
No, nothing good.
KC off-road lights.
These are just a nice camouflage, you know.
I always delete 4-wheel drive on my Crocs, so I don't even have that option. They're just slippies.
Oh man, you gotta have the 4-wheel drive. Look at these bad boys.
I just saw a video
right now.
No, nice.
Except
I
these
saw a
ones
video yesterday of a grandpa who bought all of his grandkids Crocs for Christmas. And you know the little plug things you can get to stick in the holes?
Oh yeah.
He got these medallion size things made to stick in their Crocs that were pictures of him.
Hell yeah.
And so it was just a picture of like his 8 grandkids, like rainbow colored, and they all had like these plugs of pictures of
That's
their
hilarious.
grandpa. And I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Have you seen the cowboy boot Crocs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I want them so bad.
Yeah, I kind of want them.
My uncle wears
so bad.
My uncle wears ones that are kind of like Sperry's or boat shoes, but they're Crocs. So they're like leather, and he wears those with like slacks and a button-up shirt, dude. Swear to God, that's Louisiana for you, though, man. a whole different world down there, brother.
Do y'all have rednecks up there? Like, I don't know. Do you have people that like tuck their pants in their boots? Is that a thing?
Yeah,
okay.
You definitely see it.
Dude, I do that all the time when I go to the gas station.
Well, that's what I want to do with my Croc boots. I want to tuck my jeans in them.
Rednecks are nationwide, baby.
Yeah, they're all over. Especially you go into Ohio. There's a lot more over there. But I'll tell you what. Have you guys seen the light boots? LITE?
No.
Dude, these are basically nobody?
No.
Oh my Lord. You need to look them up immediately. LITE boots. They are literally the Croc of hunting boots. I mean, they are insanely light weight boots. I've seen them. People love them. Absolutely love them.
Ugly as shit.
Oh, yeah.
Those look like they were made in China and shipped here. And,
I'm telling you,
I am stupid Americans.
I've seen them in person.
Steel toe at least?
No, dude. They are literally blown insulated like rubber. Not even. You can't say they're rubber. They're ugly.
Hell, dude.
Injection molded.
Injection molded so they don't crack and break like rubber.
Dude, they're ugly as fuck.
They're so ugly, but they are light as hell. Like they are literally.
I want for Christmas.
They're the weight of a Croc, and they're a boot, full size, waterproof.
Yeah, that's what I
feel about that,
dude.
I need the wide calf thing. You'll never see my calves, but
listen, I feel you.
Gross.
I feel you.
I might show you.
Tree trunk leg.
I might show you.
Because nobody believes me until they see them, and they're like, "Oh wow,
got cankles."
Ignore that piss stain on his shorts.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, dude.
Good looking. That looks like my leg. Look at that leg.
It does look
like mine. It's a good looking leg. Yeah,
it's muscular. vascular is the lady.
Do a lot of
this
squats.
whole time I've been sitting in these chairs, and I'm like, these chairs feel familiar, and I realized they're the chairs from the studio. Is that what we did with them? You put them in your kitchen?
I put them in the storage unit, and then they sat there forever, and I couldn't sell them, so I just brought them home.
Sick.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, those are. I'm telling you, man. For down south, people love them when it's real hot because they're super lightweight. They're nice and they're waterproof, so you can get around in them.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't seem like they would breathe very much though. Like they would just collect a pool of sweat in there.
No way are this breathing.
I would imagine that's what they're gonna do.
What if I drilled holes in them to make them like Crocs?
Yeah, there you go.
Little breather holes around the front.
What are these made for? Fuck that.
What are the Croc boots made for?
Yeah,
style, dude. Those
Style.
You take for fucking. It's like it's like Dodge Ram owners how they always keep their toe mirrors out because they're always towing pussy. That's my guess anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of like the nutsack thing that hangs out behind the truck.
Truck nuts, dude.
Yeah, truck nuts.
They outlawed those in Virginia or where was it?
Probably Virginia. Sounds like
they outlawed them in Virginia.
Northern Virginia, probably.
You still see them here from time to time. Yeah, Northern. That's where all the laws are made, I think.
I have a truck nuts keychain.
I thought I've seen people with truck nuts on their Crocs. I swear I've seen it.
Oh yeah, I've
probably.
Seen that before,
yeah.
The 4-wheel drive strap, you could hang them off the back.
Yeah.
Just walk with nuts hanging off the back.
Dude, that's sick. Well, the Croc cowboy boots come with spurs, which to me is like the most
beautiful.
Epic. Yeah, I got to do it.
You wear those in the saddle.
Yeah, saddle hunting with my spurs.
So those are outlawed here on public land. What about my Croc spurs?
Oh man!
I think we're gonna when we come to PA, we got to buy a set and we got to go make a video of this.
I'm gonna buy a set, and that's all I'm gonna wear at the Great American Outdoor Show. Crocs with spurs.
I think I'm gonna do the same thing.
I'm gonna tuck my jeans into the boots.
Hell yeah! Are y'all coming the last weekend?
I might try to do both weekends again if I can. We don't know yet for sure, but I mean, whatever time you guys are going to be there, we will definitely be there.
Yes,
we'll definitely make it work.
Last
weekend, okay, yeah, I'll make sure I put that on the calendar.
You're gonna have a freaking blasty blast, dude.
Do you guys stay there, or is it close enough to where you just go home?
We stay.
It's like 4.5 hours from us.
Yeah,
something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us what hotel or wherever you're staying, or we should just get an Airbnb. Get a
there's a couple sick Airbnbs that we've had before when we've gone down there. That was like around the COVID time, so I don't know what the price difference will be, but if we get them early enough, I think we can get a couple really nice ones like 10-15 minutes out from the show, which is where you want to be when you're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's about 10-15 minutes out. You don't want to be right there.
Don't get the hotel we were in last year.
No, yeah.
Our heater went out. It was like 12 degrees in our room.
Yeah. If we get an Airbnb, it may be possible that a sponsor pays for it. So,
okay.
We'll see. We're working that angle.
We can start throwing those dates around.
Talk to Locke, man. Maybe we can split it.
Yeah.
We're going there to work, and I said I don't need to be paid, but I would like my accommodations taken care of. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if I can find the one that we stayed at a little while back, it was absolutely incredible. We could definitely do that. The place was super nice, and I've stayed there before. So
much trouble.
Oh, you know what? Actually, we stayed in Airbnb last year too. Another really nice one, dude. We're good.
We stayed in a hotel last year. But
the other weekend that I went down that you didn't, when I was with Joe and Jodon, we stayed at an Airbnb.
Okay.
And it was pimping, dude. It was so freaking nice because we had already booked it before the whole scree thing. And dude, they had a pool table, foosball table. Like, we had it was laid out.
My real question for you guys right now is, what sponsor are we talking? Is Ryan Reynolds going to be there? Or are we Mint Mobile or?
Yeah, Ryan's actually a big hunter. He's more
staying
into
with us.
He's really big into pheasant, more of an upland game.
He's one of those people. Gotcha.
Well, they all are at that point. So
yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
He knows how to spell pheasant too, which was impressive.
Pheasant.
It's like peasant, but with an H, right?
Right, and that's exactly how he explained it.
You peasant.
I want to go pheasant hunting really bad.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I've never done that either.
Really?
Yeah, our season's
like everything except the pheasant.
Our season is BS, dude. I've been talking about taking Charles for a million years. Dude,
pheasant?
A lot of my family is from North Dakota and South Dakota, man.
Yeah.
I used to go every year with my dad. We'd go out, all my cousins and all my uncles, man. It was bananas.
That would be cool. Like
my
that's
wife has
something
family in North Dakota, and they swear by it.
It's so much fun, man.
I've been meaning to make arrangements to go hunt out there, whitetail in the late season. We have an open invitation. I just haven't been able to make it happen.
There you go.
So I have a question for y'all. Austin, you bounce between Chuck and Charles. So I've been doing the same because I don't know what the fuck to call you. So
I call him Chuck most of the time.
No one really knows what
his name's Charles, but he gets Chuck most of the time.
Yeah, I
was in my phone as Charles, but I call him Chuck. So you get both.
I've been getting this my entire life. I'll answer to pretty much anything. Asshole, Chuck,
Santa
Charles,
Claus,
Jazz, Santa.
My kids call him either Uncle Chuck or Uncle Chuckles.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Uncle Chuckles.
If
sounds like a creep.
If it were my I don't like that one. If it was preference, I personally prefer to go by Chuck Diesel. So if you could,
Chuck Diesel.
Chuck Diesel. So if you could, use that from now on, that's my pronoun, Diesel.
Well, the problem is that's what I'm going to call you. So
careful what you ask for.
That's easy for me. I like Vin Diesel and I like Chuck E. Cheese's. So that's
ideal.
Chucky Diesel. What's up, kid?
Chucky Diesel.
Chucky Diesel.
Although diesel's kind of expensive now at times, so I've been just going by Chuck Unleaded.
How much is diesel up there?
What's wrong with you?
Unleaded.
440, 4 something, right?
Expensive.
What is it nowadays? 4 something.
It's expensive.
450ish.
I paid $3.32 this morning.
Good Lord, man.
Our state's like top 3 in the world.
We have to go to Ohio to get those prices.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's about $1 cheaper.
We found a reason to go to Ohio.
Big deer, cheap gas. I can't explain the other ones that Ohio's known for, but that's 2 of the good ones.
Moving to Charleston, that's a big one they're known for.
Yeah, man.
So we wanted to get into late season hunting topics with 45 minutes in or whatever we are.
It's fun.
But I don't really want to because we're having so much fun talking about other shit. So.
It's all right. It's all going to lead.
We can have fun talking about late season. It'll be all right.
You know how it is. It'll start one place and go to another.
Oh, yeah. That's
they know as well.
They're the same way.
2 the same.
It's like the Batman meme.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Yeah. The multiverse.
Know your memes.
Yeah, I know.
That guy. The other thing too. Your last podcast. That guy Brian. What was his last name?
Sabelli.
He seems like a cool fella.
He is a cool fella.
He's a good buddy.
I like that he shoots what I don't want to. I think he's shooting a blackout. Is that what he said?
300 blackout. Yeah, I have a 300 blackout too. Yeah.
So I want to do an AR-10. Same thing. 16-inch barrel, red dot suppressor. That's because the reason why is because I went to a lottery hunt one year and we all got into the trees. Like they were like, all right, go, and you run to win your prize or whatever. So we were walking and I sat up and like an hour into my setup, I hear, and I'm like, did you fucking get it? He shot all 3 deer. All three deer were allowed to kill. He shot all 3 in 10 seconds.
That's amazing.
Shit.
I will tell you, you don't have to build an AR-10 to have a 300 blackout.
I don't want. I want 308 straight.
You want 308 straight? Okay. All right. I was gonna say because 300 blackout is still a AR-15 platform.
Yeah, it's neck down. It's just
yeah. I have it, dude. It's an awesome round, man. I really do love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that semi-automatic stuff doesn't fly around here. We still don't. We can't do that.
We don't allow it yet. Mm-hmm. They tried to, and they basically passed it for coyotes and small game.
Yeah,
no deer.
It made it nowhere near big game animals. That it will never.
Really?
Yeah.
What else
it got shot down so fast.
We're in a Commonwealth, man.
Yeah, we can't hunt on Sundays. Remember
the communist wealth, man.
Dude, they opened up Sundays here this year.
Yeah, they did.
That's beautiful.
So did they open it up on public land or private land only? How'd they do it?
It was always private land.
It's been private land only for as long as I know. What they opened it up on public land for the first time this year.
They're trying to do that in Virginia. They've been trying for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's the same way. Yep. So
I think the reason why is because there's just no hunters. When we did that Patreon hunt, we were talking to the DNR guy, and they usually have a black powder opener, and it's like pretty popular with the old guys. They come out there, but they're all dying off. But he said there for black powder opener, the year I went, there's probably 80 people out there, and they said that was a slow year. She said this year there was 18 people.
Oh, good God. Man,
that's rough.
That's tough.
Public land. Our public land kind of has the same as every other state. Like you have black powder and bow, and then rifle opens, but you can do whatever you want on private land. But yeah, 18 people, man, crazy. If I had known that, I would have gone out there with a bow because there's a shit ton of deer.
Yeah. Can you use a bow in that season? You can use lesser. Yeah. Some places. Well, that's probably more. That's probably better than black powder.
Yeah, honestly,
I would take it over black powder.
Yeah, like flintlock. If you're flintlock, that's wild as fuck to me. That people own a flintlock that's not like on a wall. That's my great grandpappy's. But the fact that people have functional flintlocks in Pennsylvania, that's wild to me.
Yeah, great.
Dude, there's people that only hunt the flintlock season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's their deer season. Is they like going out with the flintlock and they dress like in like period garb and everything. Like they want to dress like it was 1690, man. Yeah, and they take their flintlock, like the Kentucky long rifle, and they go
leathers and
100%. There's
buckskins and everything, dude.
100% does the whole outfit. He has a YouTube channel. He does a video every year on his hunt up in the big woods where it's mostly 30 minutes of him sneaking through different scenes, just wearing like the attire, but he sees a ton of deer. I mean, a ton of deer. And it's a great transition into our late season because really, if you want to hunt our late season up here, you're either doing it with traditional black powder or you're doing it with a bow. And typically the temperatures are so brutal that bow hunting and stationary hunting out of a tree stand,
it's tough.
It is really, really hard. Really hard. Most of our crops are cut, so like the crop fields and stuff that you're typically seeing deer in, after they get banged up pretty good in rifle season, that's even tough unless you have private land somewhere. But speaking on public, it's really, really hard. But to go into the late season stuff, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I know we kind of talked about this a little bit, I think, before we recorded. It is a lot of fun when you get a bunch of guys together and you have these traditional weapons, and in the big woods environment, there's a ton of deer. They're running all over the place. The first year I ever did it, I borrowed a buddy's gun off his dad, and I'm literally just walking down a dirt road, like dirt gravel road that leads back to our camp, and I'm just kind of bebopping around. I look over and there's a deer at 5 yards, just on the other side of the brush. Like the roads up there, basically there's like a brush line and then it opens up into the woods behind them, right? So when they cleared it out and opened up these roads, the sunlight came down and created these real thick brush. It's standing at 5 yards, has no idea I'm there. I get up and I'm like, holy shit, this is happening. Cocked it back, looked, and it went click. And the deer, when it heard that click, jumped out of its skin and just took off running. Like, you son of a bitch. 5 yards. It would have been my first ever with traditional equipment. And we ended up having to try to shoot that thing 9 times before it finally discharged. It was just one of those days where it was kind of spitting a little bit of snow and rain, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I wasn't covering my pan. I was doing everything wrong, basically.
Which would all do because none of us have ever shot a pan fired weapon.
Yeah, I mean, last time I checked, I did not fight in the Civil War, so I'm not super familiar.
Fighting a war with that thing,
dude.
No way.
I think about it all the time. How brutal that had to be.
Oh my god, man!
Like, how brutal those wars.
like crossing what was that river that George Washington crossed, and they all had
Delaware.
The Delaware.
with a flintlock. You get over there, and none of them work. You're like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Just beat them to death.
It's like, yeah, we got water on ours, so we can't fight. Can we just like postpone for a day or two until the sun comes out? That'd be great.
Let us dry the shit out. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did end up getting a deer that weekend. First and only time I think I've ever gone out with flintlock was the second day out. We were doing some drives, and sure enough, there was a deer like 40 yards. I shoot this thing, and you shoot it, it's just a giant cloud of smoke. You can't even see anything after the fact. So I'm like running through the smoke to try to see what I did, and the deer dropped down, and it was a nightmare, man. An absolute nightmare. Of course, it got back up and started running again, and I'm like, oh shit. But I was able to get another shot in it like 40 yards later. It was just a nightmare. I think I missed it 4 times.
Like 50 cal balls? Is that what?
Yeah, 50 cal.
Yeah.
What's the exit hole look like?
It's pretty gnarly. I mean, they call them power belts. They're not really balls, but they're.
You can shoot the balls. Yeah, I was shooting the balls that day. Yeah.
See, I shoot it like a sabot. Almost.
Some people shoot the sabot style.
Yeah.
That gives you a little bit more expansion, and they leave a pretty gnarly hole.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of times with the ball style, like I find you don't even get an exit. Mine, I didn't even have an exit, but I hit them through the leg, like through the shoulder bone, and it did not exit. It was still like on the other side. You can kind of see it like right there up underneath the fur. But yeah, they're not for me. It's fun, not for me.
Plenty of deer with a 20 gauge. I always thought it was French and it was sabot, but sabot or whatever it's called. I've killed plenty of deer with one of those. Sabot. I'm going to keep calling it that. I don't care what it's called.
I would too.
No, is that the our man drives or deer drives? Is that the kind of preferred method to hunt during that time?
If you're not still hunting, yeah. I mean, a lot of guys, they'll like going back to those traditional guys that dress up. They do a lot of still hunting and stuff. But if you're through our regular gun season and you want to fill the freezer, it's kind of doing deer drives with the flintlocks, man.
Yeah. The nice part about the the drives or the bumps or whatever you want to call them, because we don't have a lot of guys when we do this. You might have a group of 6 or 7 guys up there, and you're trying to push an area that's 20,000 acres, right? You're not really gonna. We do little mini section drives, but what's nice is it's almost like between when rifle season ends and that season opens, the deer have gotten completely stupid again, and there's a lot of times where you can literally walk right up on the deer and he's just standing there looking at you like, what are you gonna do? Or it's not like rifle season and the drives in rifle season. It seems like those deer are just they're gone, like they're running as hard as they possibly can. But that later season, for whatever reason, you typically can get better opportunity doing something like that. Plus, again, it's pretty bad conditions. A lot of times it's cold. You want to keep moving, stay warm. That's with a black powder weapon. I would suggest that's how you do it. But there's other times where we've just went out and sat down and, people have gotten deer that way too. So I don't know.
When the guns don't want to go off, that's when we attach bayonets and just go that way.
Yeah.
Take it to the trenches, man. You got to take it to the trenches.
Just keep corn in your pocket and be like, here.
I mean, food is obviously king, right? When you're talking late season, it's just so over said and over talked about. Like, oh, you got to hunt the food. Yeah. Well, what is food?
Nobody has food.
Right. Who has food at that time of year? Because for me, hunting late season, archery over a standing cornfield, I didn't do very well at all because all the deer in the middle of that cornfield using it as thermal cover for one, and they're just eating within there, and you're not going to see them before daylight breaks. Private land, if you have, a soybean pile that you left standing for whatever reason, just for hunting purposes, that could be really good too. But for me, when I'm think late season, I think more thick, heavy cover, thermal. You're hunting south-facing slopes where the sunlight's hitting on them, and there's some maybe green grass left on those south-facing slopes. I think about all the areas with the leftover acorns. Pin oaks are great. Locust trees, where you have the big locust pods, those are phenomenal late season sources. But a lot of deer at that time, whenever you're trying to get after them, they're usually grazing on browse, thick woody browse. they're not really out. I don't have the property, I should say, to talk on, cornfields and soybean field and that kind of thing.
Well, no, because we really want to talk public land anyway, because a lot of people, we're thinking about getting rid of all of our private land and only hunting public. So it's a totally different game for Pennsylvania versus South Carolina, because it is flat. We live in the low country. There is no hills. You're not going to walk up. If there's any change in terrain, a backhoe did it. It's not natural.
Right.
Yeah.
So like everything kind of looks the same everywhere. It's extremely hard to hunt here low season. Or late season, because all the grass is dead, all the acorns are gone, everything. I mean, there's nowhere to hide. But the problem with a lot of our public land is they burn a lot of it to kind of preserve it. So what grows back is these thick reed grasses that are about chest high, and deer could walk right through that and you'll never see them. Right. So you kind of have to be elevated to look for them. But like I said, it all looks the same. So there's, other than maybe sit around water and see if they come to get some drinks. But outside of that, it's really difficult to hunt here late season when nothing's going on, because wherever they are, that's just where they are.
Yeah. How are your trees? Like, do you guys have a lot of pine? Do you have a lot of deciduous trees? Like, what do you have as far as what is falling come late season that it opens up real wide open, or is it still real thick and dense?
It's still real thick. It's so what's crazy about living down here is when we leave during the winter, it blows our mind, because we can go. We went to Kentucky during where the leaves are falling, and to be able to sit in a tree stand and look out and see 100 yards through trees, that's crazy. I mean, you're not going to see that here. Like, I can send you a video right now. I'll send it to you since you have an iPhone, but I can send you a video right now of today. It won't destroy the quality. But I can send you a video of like what it looks like here today. I mean, it's still, everything's still green, but it's mostly pine in public land.
Yeah, you can get good patches of and sections of mix with where there's good mix of hardwoods and oak, and we have a lot of white oak down here, things like that, and so you'll get those dropping. Like this year was crazy with acorns. Like it was, they were just, I don't know what it was with the year, but even as late as a month ago, there were still acorns on the ground. So some of those areas, if you can find them, deer are probably coming around frequenting, trying to get some of those acorns still. But by and large, it's just a lot of pines down here. And it's not just the pines, that make it thick, because they hold their, most of their pine needles. They don't go bare. They'll drop them, of course. But the thing that's challenging down here is kind of what Matt alluded to, was the grasses, but like it's the undergrowth, native plants that are native down here. The palms.
Like, check your phone. I just sent you. You could see how green it is.
Yeah, there's the palms and some of the other things that are native to the Lowcountry, where even if you have a bunch of oaks that have dropped their leaves and it's clear, you have 3 and 4 feet of palm groves and other things that you have to contend with on the ground. And so it gets very thick and nasty really easy in some spots.
And so luckily that's all pines. You can kind of see in a distance. But if you go to like some of the island spots that we hunted, the swamp, I mean, it's still just as green as it was in summertime. Even because like our oak trees don't really lose leaves here either. It's just that we don't have a fall, like as far as most people consider a fall, where your leaves change and fall. I mean,
our leaves, it's like weird. It's like kind of cold, and then it's warm, and it's cold, and it's warm. And then you wake up one day and the leaves are all gone. Like,
they're all in my pool.
Yeah, there's not like this gradual pretty like, oh, they're red and yellow. It's just like they're like, oh man, the leaves got really brown really fast, and then like the next day, like, oh, all the fucking leaves are on the ground. Like it just happens like really fast.
But a lot of like our live oaks, they kind of cycle between leaves, so they'll drop the old leaves, but they have new leaves on there, so they're still perfectly green. It's really weird.
That's almost like our mountain laurel is what this looks like.
Very similar.
Kind of laurel.
Yeah.
Very thick, tangly, green, kind of like that all year round.
Dude, our grass isn't even green right now.
No. There's not much. Like everything's pretty much, like you said, barren. You look through it.
Yeah.
Well, but it's a benefit to us because 100%. These deer aren't going to be in that wide open stuff right now. I mean, they are tucked in that thick heavy cover stuff. So you can really target that and bear it down into little spots. And that's why I asked the question, because it's going to make a huge difference when I'm looking at how to target deer where you're at compared to where I'm at this time of year. Because if yours hasn't changed and you still have the same green up, I'm going to go back to, trying to focus on, what, water features have them pinched into a certain area, whatever it is that you would target all year round. It kind of makes it more difficult, I would say, because your terrain, everything,
swamp, and there's
water,
water
your stuff's
everywhere.
not changing. Yeah. Your habitat's not changing.
We need that thermal cover.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen them a lot in the pines as well up here, like the heavy cover pines. And I don't know what they forage on within there, if it's like little mushrooms or what, but I always see feeding underneath, like in those laid down pine needle beds and like the real heavy cover pines, because it gives them the warmth. But they're feeding on something underneath there. I just don't know what it is.
Pine nuts,
just so they're digging those up. Yeah, that makes sense. But I've also targeted, like you were saying, Gus, when you find an abundance of acorns in areas. And when I do that and I hunt it early season and I notice that there is not a deer anywhere near here, but there are a million acorns on the ground. In the back of my mind, I'm noting, okay, this spot late season or later in this season, at some point, all those other hot feed trees are going to be eaten up and they're going to come back to these. So that's something I would target in the back of my mind and mark down, like, hey, I didn't see any deer on these acorns in mid-October, but come December, January, if I walk in there and there's still acorns on the ground, I almost guarantee you that they're going to come into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's basically a corn pile. It's just nature's corn pile.
They'll find it for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just hard out here when the seasons change and then you get a lottery hunt and they stay, here you go. And you go in there and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'll pick a spot on the map. Because like on Onyx, for y'all, you can look at like, well, here's a draw. Here's a south facing slope. Here's all this stuff. For us, it's just like, okay, well,
there's all flat. It looks like
it all looks the same.
It looks like there's a good transition here. There's some hardwoods and there's a pine. Looks like a good, there's a good edge there. Let me go check that out. And then you get there and
they cut it all down 2 years ago.
Or it looks wide open, and it is because trees are 100 feet apart, but the grass is taller than you are. So it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
I also don't know who runs the burn trailers here, but there's plenty of spots in the woods that are just desolate. It looks like a nuke went off. Like all the trees are topped and they're all black because they burned too much and killed everything.
Too hot. Yeah.
Yep.
See, they don't do that here. We could use some burns, man.
Well, I would love to have some burns up here. Honestly. To God, it would help a lot. Like a lot of our big timber forest really needs the cover. It is so wide open. I mean, you can just see for all times a year. You see hundreds and hundreds of yards through this stuff. There's just no undergrowth, and it really does need like some cutting and some clear out and some burns. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, it does a lot of great stuff for animals, and it'll get deer moving too, because it changes the like you said, the undergrowth. It changes the environment, it changes the plant growth, and that changes deer movement.
Yeah,
you can also kind of like Onyx will show you when they burned last, and that's really helpful because like the year after they burned, don't even go in there. There's nothing in there. But like 2 years when the small stuff's starting to grow back, the deer love it and they'll feed all over it. So if you can find something that was burned 2-3 years ago, it's usually a good spot. But again, we have those tall grasses that cover it all, so you can't see anything.
In contrast to that, the year after they burn, that spot is a great place to go hunt turkeys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good place to hunt mushrooms too.
Yeah, also true.
Morels, yeah.
See, what you need to do is never mind. We never did this. What you need to do is you need to go into those areas and take you a nice little weed whacker and just weed whack you out some nice big open areas and then throw some throw and grow in there.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yep.
Can you do that on public land there?
No. I would never do such a thing either.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Now I'm picking up what you're putting down, as they say.
Yeah, good.
I've never personally done it. I have heard of people doing it. Personally, I've never actually done it. That's too much work for me. For one, way too much work.
It is a lot of commitment to go out there in the summertime and weed whack a field
for a public land spot that any idiot can come in and put a tree stand on, and that's his spot forever. Hey,
there's just natural clover right here.
Yeah. No, thank you. Not going to go through that effort.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I will be hunting it's booked. January, I'll be down in Florida hunting deer. So I did it a couple years ago, and I know what you mean by like the flat and the thick and everything else. It was definitely challenging. It was very different. I got on a ton of deer. I think I saw like 12 deer in the first day, but they were all doe, and you can't shoot doe during that time frame. Even though we're bow hunting, it's their gun season. You're not allowed to shoot doe. It's the most back-ass words fucking state ever.
Where do you go in Florida?
We were on the Panhandle at that time.
Okay.
So there
What's
were
crazy
actually
about
some
how hot
nice
it
deer
is there?
killed.
They have some big deer there.
They have some big deer on the Panhandle. There was a couple killed. There were some guys. I mean, most of the guys were, gun hunting and stuff. I brought my bow down, and it was cold, dude. It was like 28 degrees the opening morning that I was down there for that hunt. Like, it can happen. It can get super, super cold, and then by midday, it's 78 degrees out. Like, it's just wild. Absolutely wild.
That's the way it is here. It'll be cold, and then you'll be trekking into a stand and have to start taking clothes off because you're burning up.
But the only thing I can say that I focused on down there was, like you guys are kind of talking about, was water. How water will funnel deer, and then you just see deer running straight through the water that they're supposed to funnel them, and they're just going right through it. And it was like, dude, this is a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare to try to figure these deer out. Like, on a short trip, I stood basically zero chance of killing a buck. I felt like, but I saw a beautiful. I actually saw a beautiful. I totally forgot about this. Driving into the spot, as I was driving into the public land spot, there was a giant, like 120, 130 inch buck just standing there, and he just walked into the woods, and I'm like, obviously I'm going to go hunt over there. Well, then you drive, and there's a car. You drive, and there's a car. And I almost pulled my inner Pensylvania out and just parked right beside him. But I hear they don't take to that so well. Like, those guys are so afraid. Like, and I at camp the whole week, I'm listening to them. They're like, yeah, man, I don't know. There was a car there. So I went a mile down the road. And I'm like, a mile down the road? If there was a parking lot here in Pennsylvania, there'd be 9 trucks there and 6 parked on the road beside the parking spot. And we'd all be running in at first light, shooting at each other with rifles, basically. Like, that's
not funny. Listening to your podcast, and you say that you pull in, like, you got there, or your alarm didn't go off, so you got there late, and there was no one there. And I'm like, a parking lot there? You got, what are you talking? You got stacked up on people? No, that would never happen here. If you're driving through the woods here and you see a truck, you better keep on. You better keep on, because you never know where it is.
Dude, I could not believe that there was no one there. I couldn't believe it. It was impossible. Like, I slept through my alarm. I was waking up at 3 a.m. to get there to beat everybody there.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. You could do that. We did it in West Virginia. Sitting there in the truck, talking to the other guy. He was there first. Okay, we're talking. You're going to go over there. I'm going to go over here. Guy comes rolling in with a beat up car, jumps out, doesn't even come talk to us. Just into the woods he goes.
Yep.
They don't give a shit. People don't care. And I was blown away by the difference in that. Like, you guys are talking about, like, even a half a mile down the road, like, you're encroaching on somebody's block.
Yeah.
It blows
we
my
have
mind.
Our lottery hunts. They give you pins, and it's like, nobody down here would ever imagine putting a pin next to somebody else's pin. You're gonna move a road down, a section of property down, 100 acres, whatever. Nobody would ever stack up on another person's pin. And I don't know why. I thought that was common for everybody, but I guess it's just a Southern thing. It's probably Southern hospitality.
Southern hospitality. No, you'd see 8 tree stands here.
Yeah. I've actually I've done it to people, and I've had it done to me. So
it's happened 1,000 times.
Where you have a tree stand in there.
Idea. Southern hunter freaks out on Pennsylvania parking lot hunters, and I'm just out there like, have you no common decency or respect?
Nope, bye.
When it boils down to it, yeah, we don't.
No. I think what it is down here is we have a little more fear of guns, because down here it's like, you kill somebody for coming on your property. So it's like, this crazy fuck might shoot me if I get too close to him. And I don't trust any hunter down here. Do you? No, I don't. No, absolutely not. I don't even want to be near other hunters. So like, that's the reason I keep going. Cause because I worked at a deer processing taxidermy place for a little while, and the amount of deer that came in. I mean, I worked from August 15th to December 31st, so I worked the entire deer season. The amount of deer that came in that were shot in the lungs, I don't know, 10. Most of them came in with like blown out hips and slit throats and stomachs hanging everywhere. All of them were gut shot. 100% of them were gut shot. And I don't know why. I think maybe they're shooting their daddy's rifle. Like they don't have anything nice. So that it's like daddy's rifle that's never been sighted in with a Bushnell, like you're talking about.
It's that or it's the running deer, right? The running deer, you aim at their chest, you hit them in the guts. Like that's just pretty typical. Yeah. I'm on the same boat as you. Like I don't want to be near anyone. I want people in the woods because it gets deer moving during our rifle season, but I don't want to see you. I want to hear your gun go off, but I don't want to see you. I don't want to be anywhere near you. And it's hard to do. It's really hard to do.
I would agree.
You got some, even in the largest areas, you just got a really high population and high density of hunters. And like you said, if you park there and you walk in a mile back, there's a good chance somebody at some point in that day is going to walk past you, going to walk in on you. Most people are courteous enough to kind of give you the wave and turn around and walk out. But even, like Ohio and archery season's so much worse. This year, I was up in my tree all set up, good to go. And here comes this guy walking in down the ridge at like, I don't know, half an hour after daylight. And he's walking right at me. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And he sees me. And, at this point, I wish the guy would have just kept coming to my tree and like had a little bit of a conversation with me because he clearly had never hunted that area. No, what he does and what I hate is they try to cut around you, right? Mm-hmm. Well, he happens to take the one area around me that is through the thickest stuff where I expect all the deer to come from. And next thing you know, here comes a whole parade of deer out of that area right past me, just bumping, blowing out of everywhere. And I'm like, man, I just wish you would have just turned around and went away or like come to my tree and then just go right under me and go past me. Because at least at that point, if a deer smells you, whatever, I can shoot it. I'm bow hunting. If you go 50 yards in front of me and cut around me to get to another area, I'm screwed. And you see it all the time. There's zero courtesy. Zero.
That's wild, dude. That would irritate the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Especially as much work as it takes to get out in those, in public land and just that would suck.
Have you ever seen our pictures of like our trout season, first day of trout or anything like that up this area?
No.
It's shoulder to shoulder. People literally.
Not exaggerating, man.
There are people shoulder to shoulder in any stocked creek, any lake, whatever. There are people everywhere. There's some old time pictures that I found from like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They are hilarious to look at. Like I'd have to pull them out of the memory book,
like crossing lines and pissing each other off.
Yeah, full out fights, full blown fights. Yeah, people just literally just right over top each other, line to snag them up. I mean, guys are just brutal, dude, brutal. But that's just, I don't know. Like I said, that's just kind of the culture that's around here. When you're talking the outdoors, you share everything we have. It's limited resources. And just because you were there first, it's still my public land. I'm still going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's the mindset.
They own it just as much as you do.
Yep.
But so that is a raw fact. And that's what, so today my hunt was ruined by a guy on a dirt bike. And my wife was like, the balls, like the commendations, and I agree with her. Like during deer season to be wrapping around right at dusk, but that guy owns that land just as much as I do. So it sucks. It ruined my hunt. I'm not going to see anything because there's a dirt bike basically circling me. And they parked like, I don't know, 10 yards behind me. And they just sat there. A truck pulled up and they were sitting there bullshitting. They were talking so much that when I dropped my platform and then dropped my first stick, it hit my platform. And I heard them go, "What was that?" And they started shining a flashlight over at me. That's how close they were to me.
Oh, man.
So like ruined my hunt, and it was a lottery hunt. It wasn't just like I won the opportunity to hunt this place, and and they ruined it with the dirt bike. But it sucks, but I guess it's part of the game. So it's we don't have people standing shoulder to shoulder, but we got a huge dirt bike thing here. When you think of South Carolina, what is the demographic that you think it is? Like, what do you imagine when you think of somebody from South Carolina?
Well,
interesting question.
It is an interesting question because when I think of South Carolina, the most time I've spent in the state has been at like Myrtle Beach, and you're talking about people that are basically live their whole life up here and go down there and wear their white socks up to their knees and they're retired. Yeah. So that's what I think of as South Carolina.
So it's like Florida to you.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a northern Florida where guys drive like this, real close to the wheel, and then they always have Pennsylvania plates, and I always get the video that apparently that's me, even though I don't do that. Yeah.
When we think about Pennsylvania, we think about like, why the fuck are you in the left lane? That's what we think.
Left lane losers, dude.
Yeah, like, why are you in the left? Get out of the left lane. I don't understand why you're always in the left. You're always in the left lane doing the speed limit or less. Like, and it's a state law that you cannot be in the left lane unless you're passing. Yet people still can. I've thought about getting a plaque put on the tailgate of my truck that says state law, get the fuck out of the left lane.
See, I'm surprised you said Pennsylvania because it's a law here too. And when we think of that, we think of Ohio drivers because it's not. And we think of New York drivers because it's not. So we always, pick on the Ohio drivers for most part because we're so close to Ohio. But when I go to Ohio, I never leave the left lane. Fuck them. Yeah. I will drive in the left lane every minute I possibly can because I know when they come to Pennsylvania and I see them, they're in the left lane and I am right on their ass and they will not move over. So
we have the same problem with Ohio, but we've talked enough trash about Ohio, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
No, they deserve it. I hate it. I hate it, man. I can't stand it. There's nothing worse than two truck drivers that will drive side by side and the one just takes 20 miles to finally pass the guy because he's going 1 mile per hour faster than him.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, he pays the same taxes you do. It's his road.
Apparently. Probably more.
All right. All right, I'm going to hang out here and talk as much as we want, but I'm going to close the podcast out.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Hopefully we cover. I think we stayed a lot more focused on this one, so we did pretty good.
We did pretty good.
Normal. Right. I'm proud of us.
As am I. But I got to thank you guys for sure for doing this again with us and kind of doing a collab. And
man.
Oh man, there's no need to thank us, dude. We're happy.
We're happy to do it. We love talking with y'all. We're glad we did it again. We're gonna keep doing it. I think y'all will be the number one returning guest. I believe.
We appreciate that.
Not because anyone likes you. We just like you.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. These guys are assholes.
Yeah, samesies.
Always driving in the left
lane. All right, boys.
All right, we'll close it out. Thanks everybody for listening. And Whitetail Distraction Podcast. Check them out everywhere. Grab a Merry Christmas. Toodles.